Good morning, Year 6. I hope you enjoyed your half term and that you are well rested and ready for this week. So this is your English lesson. Just a quick heads up before we get started. You will be asked to go back and forth between Teams, assignment and this video. So I will ask you to get on with an activity, and once you're done with that activity, I'd like you to come back to this video and I will let you know when that is. There are also notes on your assignment to remind you when to come back to the video. Okay, so let's get started with our lesson. I'll just share my screen. Oh, that's not the first one. Okay, so today is Monday the 22nd of February 2021, and our learning objective today is to explore brochures. So we are actually starting a new piece of writing, and by the end of these 2 weeks, we're going to have our own brochure that hopefully you will all be able to make. So let's have a look at our success criteria, just to give you some insights on different things that you're going to be doing in this lesson today. So you're going to be identifying the purpose of brochures. You're going to pick out key features. So what common things do brochures have, which makes them key features? You're going to consider the purpose of your own brochure and also create your own checklist for future lessons. So what I'd like you to do is to get a blank piece of paper, could be any kind of piece of paper, and make sure that you have brochures checklist written at the top. And during this lesson and also future lessons, what I'd like you to do is add to this list. Okay, so this will be your key features list for your checklist. Okay, so now our learning objective says to explore brochures. What is exploring? Well, this is when you inquire or discuss a subject in detail. Okay, so inquiring is asking questions. So for example, why did the writer use specific words or features? As well as you're going to be making comparisons. Okay, this is a skill that you're going to be putting into practice. You're going to make comparisons and find similarities and differences between some brochures. Now, don't worry too much about what a brochure is. You may not know, but hopefully when you look at some examples, you will realize what a brochure is. And I'm sure that all of you have seen one before. So this week we're going to be looking at brochures, like we said, and what makes an effective brochure. So your aim by the end of these 2 weeks is to create a brochure for a new theme park. How exciting. So today we're going to be looking at a few examples of brochures to see what the purpose for which they are written. Okay, so the purpose, why do we need brochures? What is the need for having a brochure in the first place? Okay, so we're going to be looking at that, and hopefully, like I said about the checklist, you'll be able to pick out key features from the activities today, and this will start to form your checklist. Okay, so there's the answers that I've given you. Maybe you saw that, hopefully you didn't. Where might you have come across a brochure? Where do you think you might have come across some form of a leaflet, brochure, some kind of piece of paper which has images and writing on it, which gives you information? Where do you think you might have come across one of those? Pause the screen and have a think, and I'll show you my answers. Okay, so here are some of the examples I thought of. So you might have thought of holiday brochures or hotel brochures, which tell you certain activities that you can do in a new country that you're visiting. Maybe a brochure for a new business that's selling a brand new product or a service that they're providing. You might have seen brochures in a shopping mall. Maybe an adult one of your adults might have picked up a brochure to see which shop is on which floor of that shopping mall to help them. Okay, brilliant. So now that we've thought about types of brochures, what do you think the purpose of a brochure is? We're going to have a look at this, but have a think. Pause the screen. What do you think the purpose of a brochure is? Okay, brilliant. So we'll come back to that. What I'd like you to do, remember I said we're going to be going back and forth between Teams and this video. Could you please now go to Teams and find the document called Brochure Examples? It's in your assignment with today's date on it. And what I'd like you to do is have a read through each of the brochures. There will be 3 in one document. And what I'd like you to do is open up the assignment. And I'd just like you to find 3 similarities and 3 differences between the texts. There will be a table for you to fill out. Please, can you head over to Teams now and do just that? Okay, let's continue. So welcome back. Okay, so here are some things if you did want to add to your list now, just to help you a little further. What tense is used? What's the purpose? What kind of topics are displayed? Is it written in first, second, third person? Have a think about those things. Maybe add to your similarities and differences. Maybe look for these kind of things to help you a little more. Okay, so here are some similarities and differences that I thought of. So you would have realized that there were headings and subheadings. You would have realized that they're written in second person. If you're not too sure what second person is, don't worry, we're going to be looking at that during the week, but that is when the pronoun you is used. It's also written in non-chronological order. That's something you are familiar with from a previous piece of writing about your different wolves that you created. Some differences. The topic of the brochures. One was a holiday destination, one was giving information about dogs. So they all have different topics that they're presenting. Some have contact details, some do not. That might have been something you picked up on, maybe not. Example 1 and 2, this is more specific. They're about places to visit, whereas example 3 is not. So those could have been some similarities and differences that you might have thought of. So now that we have some similarities and some differences, could you please make sure that you put the similarities on your checklist? The reason why is because we've found features that are common in all of the brochures that we've seen so far. So these must be key features of a brochure. Okay, so make note of these now, and these will help you on Friday in our feature hunt. Pause the screen here if you need some extra time. Okay, let's move on. So let's have a think about the purpose. We keep talking about the purpose of a brochure. What's the need for a brochure? What does a brochure do? Well, 1, it's to provide information for an audience. Okay, it gives you information. And the second one is to persuade the audience. Okay, so these are 2 key purposes of a brochure. It's to provide information and to persuade the audience. Now, persuade is a verb, which means induce someone to do something through reasoning or argument. So, for example, convincing somebody, talk somebody into doing something. Okay, you're trying to persuade them, in this case, to come to your new theme park. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at the model text, and we're going to try and find some examples of words or phrases which might be used to persuade the audience. Okay, so what I'd also like you to do is explain what forms of information are provided in the model text, what kinds of things are discussed. Okay, so let's have a look. So again, we're going back and forth from Teams to this video, but before you go, let's have a look at the model text together. We'll read through this together. Okay, so this is a brochure for Alton Towers. You may have visited Alton Towers. It's a huge theme park. Okay, so let's read this together. Are you bored and fed up of visiting the same boring places? Then head straight to Alton Towers theme park this summer, where you are guaranteed the time of your life. Alton Towers is a majestic 5-star adventure park which has captured the world's imagination. Alton Towers is more than just a theme park. It's an entire universe of action and thrills. From the moment you arrive, you will be the loudest explorer, screaming at the top of your voice. Some people describe their day as jaw-dropping. Others say it rocked their world. It says here, enter Alton Towers and never want to leave. The rides. Twist, spin, flip, twirl, and zoom around ferocious tracks, insanely high loops until the sun goes down. Experience flying on the smoothest ride in the world, air. This stunning coaster twirls your. Oh, that should be you. That one should be you. So, this stunning coaster twirls you around and stimulates the flight of a bird drifting through the sky. The G-forces of Rita, Queen of Speed, will have you hurtling, twisting and turning as it reaches speeds of 100 miles per hour. If I were asked to choose my favourite, this one would get the vote every time. Family fun. Whilst the adults fly around the mind-boggling rides, there's plenty for young children to enjoy. Located deep in the heart of the theme park is the magical world of CBeebies Land. Overall, Alton Towers is the #1 choice for the entire family. You will not be disappointed. There are thousands of options for you to choose from, including hair-raising roller coasters for all ages, relaxing cafes to enjoy a break from the excitement and children's entertainment, which changes daily. Plus, the Alton Towers water park will get you soaked if you fancy a day of aqua entertainment. If I were you, I would bring an extra change of clothes so you don't miss out on the fun. You won't regret it. Bring your friends, bring your children, bring the whole family. Hurry, book now. And there's a website there. Okay, so please head over to Teams and add to the second table in your assignment. And when you are done, please come back to this video. Brilliant. So what do you think makes a good persuasive brochure? Well, let's have a look. Hopefully, these were some of the things that you wrote down on your list for the what makes the persuasive points in this brochure. So hopefully you might have recognized there was a rhetorical question. Are you bored and fed up of visiting the same boring places? So rhetorical questions. The use of second person. Again, don't worry if you're not too sure what the second person is, but a reminder, if you do remember, it's using the pronoun you, so talking directly to the audience. So let's look at this rhetorical question. Are you bored and fed up of visiting the same boring places? Okay, so using that direct kind of use of you to address the audience. This idea of directive language, so using verbs, bossy verbs, in fact. So, for example, experience flying on the smoothest ride in the world. So, experience, it's as if the person who wrote this is telling you to do it. Okay, so this directive language. So, for example, come, ride. As well as this, there's descriptive and emotive language. Okay, so for example, some people describe their day as jaw-dropping. Others say it rocked their world, explaining how it will make you feel. Okay, and also there's this stunning coaster twirls you around and simulates the flight of a bird drifting through the sky. Okay, that descriptive language makes you imagine yourself on this ride already. As well as this, there's the whole idea of informal and friendly language. Okay, so here, if we've got at the end, we've got, if I were asked to choose my favorite, this one would get the vote every time. That's not something the Queen would say. It's very informal. Okay, so those are some examples of some persuasive features that brochures would have. So can you please write these down on a piece of paper, which will hopefully start your checklist, as well as any features that you already found in common with the example brochures. Okay, so those similarities that we found in our first table. Can you please make sure these are all written on your checklist? Brilliant. Okay, so now let's have a think about what the purpose of your brochure would be. Okay, pause the screen. What do you think the purpose of your brochure would be? Okay, brilliant. So remember, we spoke about persuading the audience. Now, the purpose of your brochure would be to persuade people to come to your theme park. Okay, you want them to come and visit your theme park. And the second purpose is to provide them with information about your theme park and what people can do there. Okay, so those are your two main purposes. If you feel like you may forget this, please make a note of this somewhere so that you are reminded of what your purpose is when you are writing your brochure. Let's have a look at our success criteria. So remember, our learning objective was to, if we get it up, to explore brochures. Okay, now let's have a look at this. You were asked to identify the purpose of brochures. Now, I think you were able to do that. You identified the purpose of brochures. It's to provide information and also to persuade the audience. Okay, you also were asked to pick out key features. Now, that's something you were able to do with the similarities that you found between the example brochures. You also, to be successful, were expected to consider the purpose of your own brochures. Now, we just went through that together. Hopefully, you thought of this before I revealed this to you. And finally, you needed to start making a checklist for yourself. Now, hopefully, you've already done all 4 of these. And if you have, you have been very successful for today's lesson. And that's why I have this big smiley face here, because I'm very happy with all of your hard work. Okay, that is the end of our English lesson today. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.